Welcome to the podcast, Living by Oak Values. My name is Robert, and I host this podcast with my friend Gary. Join us today as we dive deep and share meaningful stories and discuss the values that help shape our lives. We will explore how we use these values to guide us through life, influence our decisions, our relationships, and raising our kids. We are embracing a journey of personal growth and navigating our own path. We are devoted to living by these values and passing them on to our children. We are thrilled to have you here and can't wait to share our latest episodes. Whether you're a longtime listener or just now discovering us, welcome. Join our Facebook community, Northman Legacy Crew, and feel free to introduce yourselves in the comments and let us know what topics you're most interested in hearing about. Check us out at northmancoaching.com. Sign up with your email for behind-the-scenes sneak peeks and exciting updates. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Happy listening. All right, and today we will be talking about dignity. All right, today we are going to be talking about dignity. Dignity on the back of the card is defined as the quality or state of being worthy, honored, or esteemed. Essentially being worthy of honor and respect.
Dignity is an important value for several reasons. It's going to cover self-respect, respect for others, human rights, moral responsibility, conflict resolution, empowerment, mental health, social cohesion, and legacy and influence. In summary, dignity is crucial as it promotes self-worth, respect for others, human rights, ethical behavior, conflict resolution, empowerment, mental health, social cohesion, and a positive legacy.
And so the first bullet point is self-respect. Upholding dignity encourages individuals to maintain their self-respect. It involves recognizing one's self-worth, treating other ones with honor, which is essential for mental and emotional well-being.
So, Rob, do you have self-respect?
Yes, I do. What does self-respect look like?
To me or to you? I have no idea what it looks like to you. to me, self-respect is just respecting my mind and my body and my decisions. So no matter what other people think of my whatever I do, my decisions, what I'm thinking, no matter what other people think, if it is in line with my values, then I respect myself enough not to sway. Mm-hmm. Not to say that I won't sway, because if you tell me that there's a better way of doing things, this I believe might be a better way, and I look it over and agree with you, then I can sway from where I'm at, because clearly you have a thought process that is better than what I'm thinking, and I like what you're doing, so I can move over and do this. So what does it mean to you?
I like how it says mental and emotional well-being, because that is really what I use self-respect for. Mm-hmm. I have to keep working on my mental health and my emotional well-being. So I go walking, I read self-help books, I talk to other men, I start learning more about what it means to have better mental health and emotional well-being.
And now, along with self-respect, we need to have respect for others. So that is the next bullet point, respect for others. When people value dignity, they are more likely to treat others with respect and compassion. This fosters a culture of understanding and support. This is essential for harmonious relationships.
That's a tricky one. And it is tricky because not everybody is going to respect you.
Well, obviously. I also feel like it's weird that it says it's essential for harmonious relationships.
That is true.
Why, though? I can respect you, but we don't have to have a harmonious relationship. I could dislike everything about you, but if you say something that makes sense, I'd be like, yeah, I can respect that guy for that. I still don't want to be your friend or hang out with you, but I can respect you for what you've said.
This gives me goosebumps.
Dignity?
Respect.
Why does that give you goosebumps?
Because my mom and my dad were like, you have to respect us.
Okay.
And we as kids were like, wait, we have to respect you, but you don't respect us. And they would be like, well, we don't have to respect kids. You're kids.
Well, I know we've discussed that our upbringings were very, very different.
Maybe we should take this out.
Let's see where it goes.
Okay.
So we've discussed that our upbringings are very, very different.
Yes.
And I was taught as well to respect your elders, parents, whatever. I feel like I could see my parents saying that we don't have to respect you. You're kids, we're adults. But I think in the end, for me anyway, my parents respected me and my brothers and sisters. I mean, as long as we were doing as we were told and respecting them, they respected us on certain levels. Like they could still go in my bedroom and look around for whatever. I might have been hiding or whatever. They could go through my car when I got my car and look for whatever. Is it right? No. But are they adults? Are they my parents? Yes. So
what this point is making is dignity falters when you don't show other people respect.
Absolutely. All right. So since we're talking about hurtful stuff, let's go to a joke. Let's lighten it up.
All right.
So with all the things going on in the world with what kids are learning in school and identity stuff going on, for the listeners out there who are unaware for some reason, maybe they're under a rock, what a furry is. I don't even know what a furry is, but people identify as furry. So anyway, so here's the joke. How much does a furry suit cost, Rob?
$150?
More than that. It costs all of your dignity.
Now, are you talking about like the furry suit where people dress up as mascots and go like into the woods kind of deal?
I know they dress like mascots, but it's on a regular basis because that's who they are.
Oh, gotcha.
That's where they think that they are this furry animal. But they have to suit up to get there, though. That's the problem.
On to the next bullet point is social cohesion. A society that prioritizes dignity is more likely to be very cohesive and inclusive. It fosters a sense of belonging and community, reducing discrimination and division. I actually think we live in a pretty
I was just going to say
dignified...
all the men's work we do, all the men's groups that we're in, every group that we work with or are in.
No, even America. I really think America is very dignified. There are a lot of people who come here for that.
Okay.
We have a lot of...
My only issue with that is I feel like the whole part where it says it fosters a sense of belonging and community, you don't see that everywhere you go. On that note, also, I feel like if you have that mindset, then you won't see the bad, I think, or a lot of the bad things.
Yeah.
But if you walk into a community expecting them to be different from you and treating you differently, not telling you that you don't belong or whatever, that's how you're going to feel because you're going in with that mindset.
True. Especially around here.
This is interesting, I think. When I was a young boy, I always thought the South was very friendly, with the sweet tea and sugar and sweetie pie or whatever. A lot of terms of endearment for the South. And then as I got older, not quite an adult yet, but I felt like that. And I don't know if it was a movie or something in the news I saw or something I learned in school, took all of that stuff as derogatory. Like you guys are backstabbing. And we even discussed that in, I think, a previous episode. Maybe we were just talking where you said, isn't he precious or something? What's the saying?
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. What does that mean? When I was a kid, that meant bless your heart. When I was a young adult, teenager, whatever, that meant something different.
Yep.
So I just think that goes on your mindset. You have a community, a sense of community or a sense of belonging.
And see, I haven't lived in enough places to know the difference, but I think there's a lot of social cohesion where I am. Okay. Because you have a variety. We're spread across 3 different cities pretty well, and it's pretty diverse. And people get along fairly well. We have a lot of churches too. And so a lot of churches constantly bring that sense of belonging and community in the area. We're in the Bible Belt.
So I am not in the Bible Belt. So you're in South Carolina, right? Columbia. I'm in Providence, Rhode Island. Now, Rhode Island is probably, I'm not basing this on any facts that I know for sure, but I feel like we might be the most diverse state in the country. We're very small. We're the smallest state in the country. But now with all that diversity we have, there's so much culture here. The biggest thing would be, I guess, blacks and whites. And then we have like the Italian community, the Portuguese community. There's a heavy Puerto Rican background, or what do you call that? Ethnicity here. So we have all that diversity. And we were voted the most unfriendly state in America.
Wow.
And honestly, I'm not from here, but I've been here for 10 years. So I try to blend myself in. But we're rude. We are rude here. We will flip you the finger quicker than any other state, I think. We'll honk our horn while we're driving just because you look funny. Try driving up here with your South Carolina plates on. See how that goes for you.
I might do that one day.
You'll get honked at quicker than anything, and you probably get cut off just because they feel like they can cut you off. So 2 different things. So we're both Down South Carolina, it's very. You said it's a very diverse area. A lot of different ethnicities or whatever. Same with Rhode Island, but we're not friendly.
We are pretty friendly. There's many places that you can go. Like the other day, I had somebody of Cuban descent. Actually, he couldn't even speak English. He brought out his phone and he had to translate himself into English for me. Just tell me how cool my truck was. He comes up to me. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Cuban," and he pulls out his phone and he translates like how cool my truck was. And I was just like, "Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you very much." So
you should have got your phone and give a message back like, "How do you make an awesome Cuban sandwich?"
Dude, I love a Cuban sandwich.
I know, me too. Me too.
No, we had a conversation. We stood there at the gas pump for like 30 minutes or something, having a conversation back and forth, talking on the translating phone thing. So
that's
translating
awesome.
app. Yeah.
So speaking of social cohesion and friendly people and diversity, not long ago, there's a very popular story going around.
There was?
There was. About the man and the bear. Do you remember it?
Yes, kind of. But would you? Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I'd be happy to. It was something that was on social media. And the start of it, I've heard so many different stories on where it started, so I'm not even going to get into that. But the idea was that a man is dangerous, and that if a woman was to have to make a choice between a strange man and a bear, they would choose the bear. Before we get into why, I just want to say that. So when this was brought up to me by my girlfriend at the time, I got very upset. That was like a kick to the balls. That hurt. And I know it wasn't aimed at me so much, but just at my fellow man, like that was a kick to the balls. Do you have any input on that before I go further?
Well, can you describe to people how that hurt your dignity?
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to get there, of course.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just going to do it now. I'll do that part, and then we can talk about you. I've been working so hard for the past 4 or 5 years on myself, on being the best man that I can be. Then I got into coaching with you, and we've coached other men on how to be the best men they can be for their wives, for their children, for their neighbors, for their friends. The two of us have worked so hard to make men better, but the men that we make better are the men that want to be better. But just all this work that I've done on myself and with other men, like to hear that, it's like being an awesome teacher. And kids in your class can all pass and graduate, but somehow the masses decide that all kids are stupid. And you're like, I just worked so hard with all these kids and they've all just graduated and getting real jobs, and you're saying they're stupid. So it's like that. It hurt my dignity for sure. What were your thoughts on this story?
I literally forgot what my thoughts were on this story, to tell you the truth.
Think about it. We'll come back in a second.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I was trying to, obviously the story was in the news. It was big. Everyone was talking about it. Then it kind of washed away, went away, and I haven't heard about it in a while. But then I was listening to Emily King. She's the woman on Facebook, and she was talking about this story again. And she really clarified it on why the woman supposedly chooses the bear and why men like myself were very upset. And you ready for it?
Yeah.
The woman chooses the bear, or she would choose the bear in this story, hypothetical story, because women do not think logically. They think emotionally. So there's no thought process behind their decision. As in, a man will really think it out. He'll, pros, the cons, and then he'll make a move. It upset me, and I'm sure it upset other men, probably yourself. And why it upset us so much is because we are good men. And we are not only good men, but we are surrounded by great men. We are a tight community of just men being better in this world than what some people think we are. So because we're so good, it was a punch to the gut. And this all ties into self-respect and respect for others. Because when this story is told, it hurts the man. Most men, I think.
You're even talking about social cohesion.
Yeah, and yes, I am.
I mean, because you're saying, hey, you're talking about a group that fosters belonging in a community, and now you're discriminating /
But you were on it though. It does. You look talking about a community that fosters a sense of belonging in community.
Yes.
But I have this group of people that would rather get mauled and killed by a bear than be with a strange man. Or I'm not saying be with a strange man, but be in the company of a strange man. And that is discrimination. That is division.
You're now hitting into the next bullet point is human rights. The dignity is the foundation to human rights. And to have dignity, you need to believe that every person deserves to be treated with respect, regardless of their background, belief, or circumstance. And that story does not do that.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. You really are. Even though some people would probably kick back right now and say that, well, you just said, Rob, that human rights, that regardless of their background, beliefs, or circumstances.
Yes.
And they might go back and say, well, I believe the bear is a safer option. But the thing is, they are disrespecting and treating men poorly.
Yeah. Well, treating people poorly.
People poorly in general, whatever.
Based on a circumstance and belief. Yeah. So yeah, they are taking away the human rights aspect on dignity. And so that would be another reason why it hurts your dignity, is because that story,
it's one-sided.
It is one-sided, but it is what's it called when it takes away dignity? It corrodes.
Ooh, I like that.
It corrodes that aspect of dignity. It erodes the trust that you have towards people who think like that.
I agree. And as long as we're talking about eroding trust and dignity and all that leads us to the next bullet point, which is moral responsibility. Valuing dignity promotes ethical behavior. It encourages individuals and societies to act in a way that honor the inherent worth of people, leading to fairer and more just communities. I like that. To act in ways that honor the inherent worth of all of the people. Can you imagine a world like that, honestly?
It's hard. The only time I've seen it, and actually it's not hard to envision, but Star Trek.
Never watch it.
Really? My dad.
I never did Star Trek, Star Wars, none of that.
Star Trek. And then this is part of Star Trek, is that it encourages individuals and everybody is worth. Yeah, there's rank. Each individual has their own value and worth.
Yeah. But the thing is, yes, each individual has their own value and worth, but you cannot assign me my value and worth. I assign that to me.
Good point.
And if I decide that my value or worth is low, then I'm lacking in self-respect. And that could be because there's no social cohesion. So you got to bring us all together. This episode is brought to you by Northman Coaching and their Oak Value cards. Are you looking for a little boost in motivation and self-improvement? If so, then check out our Oak Value cards. Empower yourself with our motivational and insightful core value cards. Enter promo code DIGNITY and get 10% off your next order.
So we have a quote. Aristotle. Love Aristotle. The ideal man bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of circumstances. It kind of ties into our next bullet point, which is conflict.
Well, before you get there, What does that mean to you? To bear the accidents of life with dignity and grace.
Stuff happens. If you don't falter on your dignity and grace, you can make the best out of that circumstance.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. And I tell my daughter all the time when she's in course, if she messes the words up, because she's in a group, just keep going. Handle that accident with dignity and grace. Last week, I was helping my buddy build a shed, and we're putting the sheetrock up, and the plywood up, and we go to screw it to the studs. And I grab the drill, and I go to put the screw in. Completely missed the stud. Now I could have been like, oh, and cursed or pulled the screw out. I just took the next screw and I moved it over a little hair, went right into the stud. Didn't even act like it was wrong. I just did it and kept moving on with dignity and grace. Now you make it till you answer with your conflict resolution.
Being able to recognize dignity of all parties can facilitate dialogue and understanding. It helps de-escalate tension and promote constructive solutions. And I can say that's pretty true. I've had a few situations at work, actually, even in my family, I just had to back off and say, well, they're trying to do the best they can. I don't want to keep slinging mud at people. Sometimes I just have to stop and say, hey, well, I'm done. I understand. Maybe I didn't do that right, but
No, you're good. And when you get to that understanding and you recognize your dignity, you understand things more. You were raised differently than me.
yes.
Have a different opinion than I do. That's okay.
Yep.
I can do two things with that. I can recognize it, that you were raised differently and that just things are just different where you're from. Yeah. Or I can fight you and tell you that you're wrong and I'm right.
That's how I used to be all the time. Oh my
Granted,
goodness.
I win that fight for sure. But does that make me more right by winning a physical fight? No, not at all. So a physical fight will never, I don't believe will ever really resolve a conflict.
Even logical fights.
Yeah.
Sometimes logical fights, because that was me and my brother all the time. It was logical fights. I win because I was the smartest. I said the most smart thing. Because we were constantly trying to up one, we could not de-escalate.
So how did you eventually de-escalate?
I had to learn to just stop. Just let him win the battle. Let him think he was smarter than me.
I hope he's not listening to this podcast. Anyway, I have a joke for you, Rob. You ready for it?
All right. What you got?
Actually, it's not really a joke. It's like I don't know, a funny riddle thing. Never mind. I'm just going to tell you what it is. A funny statement, I guess. Many things can be preserved in alcohol. Dignity is not one of them. It's not really a joke, is it?
I'm trying to think how many things I preserve in alcohol.
Oh my God. My liver?
Well, I'm sitting here going, pickles, that's vinegar.
Have a fruit. Have a fruit.
Preserves. I guess you could do a peach. Yeah. Peach, strawberry. Strawberries. Yeah.
You can ferment. You can preserve anything in alcohol except for dignity.
A lot of fruit for sure.
Yes. So then on the topic of alcohol, that takes us to our next bullet point, which is mental health.
I don't think alcohol helps with mental health.
It doesn't, but they roll together though. Anyway, so with mental health, valuing dignity contributes to better mental health. When individuals feel dignified, they are less likely to experience feelings of shame or worthlessness, leading to greater emotional resilience. This is just like what you were saying earlier with your brother. It's almost exactly. By just letting him think he's smarter or better, he will feel less shame. He will feel more worthy. And that will make him just feel better all around because you decided to stop or step back.
The last sentence, leading to greater emotional resilience.
Right.
That is what I benefited.
See? So the second line benefited your brother. And the last line, whatever it was, the last line benefited you.
And the more you practice,
the more resilient you become.
The more emotional resilient you become. Especially dignity is... Oh, it's trying, bro. It's trying. Moving on to our next point. Dignity empowers individuals to assert their right and advocate for themselves and others. It fosters a sense of agency and encourages people to strive for their goals.
Before, when I did not have much dignity, when I was, had lower self-esteem or when I was lacking my self-respect, I did not advocate for myself. I did not assert my rights. If I had a boss who told me how things were going to be, then okay. If I was hurt or sick and went to the doctor and they said there was nothing wrong, now that I have been working on myself and I'm a much better man, like if I go to the doctor for something and they say that there's nothing wrong with you, then I'm going to find a second opinion because I am going to advocate for myself. So if there is something at work going on where something is not right and they're breaking the rules, I will stand up for my rights because I am now empowered. That is, I love that word because that's what we do when we coach men. Like when we coach anybody, we empower them.
Yes.
To help themselves. And once you give somebody the ability to be empowered, like it's like the key to the universe almost. Yes. It opens so many doors. Like once you are able to stand up for yourself and you don't have to lean on anybody, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it means by having dignity to empower yourself. That's exactly.
I mean, can you relate to a time in your life when you didn't stand up for yourself?
Yes. It's more, sometimes I use the later part. where I want a little bit of encouragement from somebody else to help empower me to keep moving to the next step. It's just a miracle to have somebody just speak up for you or help nudge you in the right direction. Like you do all the time. Sometimes I call you and say, hey, I need a little bit of encouragement. What's the best way of doing this? And that little bit of dignity that you're sitting there, is this the man you want to be, Robert? That reminder to encourage me to keep moving and striving to where I'm trying to be, that helps so much.
Well, I appreciate that. And I it's funny because a lot of times I'll ask myself that question.
Yeah.
Is this the man that you want to be? But when you actually hear that from someone else's voice, it's a real call out, and you're like, I have to change something. You're right. If it's your own voice, sometimes you're like, whatever. Anyway, so moving on, that takes us to our very last bullet point, and that's legacy and influence. Upholding dignity can leave a lasting impact. Individuals who embody dignity often inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that enhances the overall quality of life in a community. And we had just said that.
Yes.
Show you dignity, that you just said that's a lasting impact. I also believe that it does create a ripple effect, because when you can move on in a better place, because now you're empowered, now you have dignity, you can show it to your daughter. Mm-hmm. You can show it to your neighbor.
Yes.
You show it to your coworker, and the ripple moves on and on and on.
That's why we started Northman Legacy Crew, to inspire others, to create that ripple, to enhance the overall quality of life, and actually dignity in all aspects of what we talked about today is exactly what we look for.
What do you mean?
Well, in our group, I'll start from the top. We look for people who have self-respect, who respect others, who understand that there needs to be social cohesion, that there are human rights, that they have a moral responsibility to do good, ethical behaviors. They know how to handle conflict resolution, or are working to handle themselves better in conflict resolution. Know that understanding dignity it helps empower each other, and you will be leaving the legacy in the future.
When you end it, I would say something. Well, how do you like? If you want to go further and deeper?
Yep. If you want to go further and deeper on this topic.
If you want to go further and deeper and get in on this ripple effect.
Ooh.
All right, go.
Hold on, let me add this in.
Just for this episode, because it kind of goes to that last thing.
If you would like to go further or deeper on this topic of dignity and get in on this ripple effect, reach out to us. We want to know you and hear your powerful story. Connect with us by booking your free session on our website, northmancoaching.com. And folks, that's a wrap on today's episode. And of course, thank you all out there for listening. We are glad you could join us today. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Living by Oak Values. If you feel generous, leave us a review. It really helps us out and keep these conversations going. For more updates and exclusive content, join our Facebook group, Northman Legacy Crew. Follow us on YouTube, TikTok, and visit our website, northmancoaching.com. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode that you don't want to miss. Until then, keep discussing your values, embracing the journey, take care, and stay authentic.